Right, we join me start of a session. We're on the beautiful Lindbrook Lake. This is in my neck of the woods, down in the New Forest there, boys. And I'm out with Gardner, shooting what hopefully will be a successful trip. I've had a good winter using the Hermit and the Withy, and that's what we're going to be talking about. This is up in it to a different level. This is the best I've done, you know, out of all the rigs I've invented over the years. These two, the Withy and the Hermit together, we'll explain obviously through the film how we're using it, why we're using it, where to use it, and yeah, trust me, you can't defy the half circle, which is like the Withy. You can't defy it. As soon as you touch it, it strikes like a cobra. And then you put that in with an elasticated lead. You can't defy elastic, you can't defy gravity. So as soon as you run against elastic, it pulls you back. And so if you can combine those two, your photo album's going to grow. And so we're here, like, as I say, beautiful Lindbrook. It's got about between 380 and 420 fish in it. There's 50 30s in here, and they're big scaly bangers. And this particular rig we're going to run through, I've had a fantastic winter on it. I had 5 30s in 4 days on here in January, but this really does work, and it's caught me so many 30s, 40s, up to 50, and we'll show you how. I'm going to try and utilise the margin I've got here. I've got a margin there's no swims along it, so I'm going to try and utilise that to my advantage over the next 48 hours. Lovely. So I'll just take that back a little bit because I want to have a bag on it. That stretch because of the bag. We'll take that into the tree otherwise. That should be 2 rods clipped up without too much noise, too much disturbance, especially on a sort of, you know, the wind's died down a lot. That's when they hear us a lot more. They haven't got that canopy of confidence, the wind. We'll just do one more cast. That's quite a hard spot, that. Yeah, I think that'll do. This lake's not an easy lake by any means. I think half the stock's never been out in 10 years they've had it, and yeah, which I find intriguing, and there's quite a few reasons why, I think, you know, they're my opinion. And I know they've chopped a lot of the trees out now, and it's got a lot more wind going through it, and a lot less talon going into the lake from the leaves. It's really up the fishing, and there's carp coming out that haven't been out before, and I think a lot of them didn't feed on the bottom. You know, they were literally just waiting for the fly hatches and the caddis fly, and you know, the nymphs and whatever. And feeding, you know, off of those things that are coming up off the bottom. I think a lot of them didn't, you know, just didn't feed on certainly on a lot of the area of the lake, but now they do. So let's get these rods in. Let's go. That's it. It don't get much better than that. Are you kidding me? What? Oh, not again. Right, Q. We'll do this one right this time. I'm like the dyslexic Yorkshireman that went out wearing a cat flap. It was 14 wraps and not 15. And Si said, "Are you sure it's 15? It's cast over twice. At least I've got all the tackle back, but now we've actually got the wraps right. And we might put it back on the spot that I baited yesterday. Here, hey ho, and he's bent back straight, on we go. Right, so after all that, finally get a bit of bait out. Can't believe I've done that. Just gonna put some of the krill pellet out, a bit of the hemp and a bit of the mini mix. Right, well there we go. That's why we come to Lindbrook. It's not the biggest fish in the world, but that is more than welcome. Absolutely a bar of gold. And yeah, look at that, it's tail end of the winter. That's we'll take that. Absolutely fantastic. What a fish. And the thing is, they go probably another 20 pound bigger, and they look like that as well. So we've got today and tonight left. So yeah, but that's a fantastic start, especially after the calamity of that middle rod, and that was going to be the banker rod, and that's why I persevered and did 5 casts in the end to get this one right. And there's the fruits of my labour, and yeah, well pleased with that. But we shall hopefully endeavour to get a bigger one. I'll go and get her mum maybe. I've got a little hunch it ain't going to finish today. I think I'm going to get another bite. I've just put that rod out, and let's see if we can get her mum. And yeah, but that's just fantastic. Really pleased. Thank you, darling. No harm done. She's gone. Yes. So we're going to be talking the Hermit Lead, which is odd class as a rig in itself. That was something that me and my friend Dave Fuidge, we came out with this years ago, probably it was probably 2000. So we're talking 24 years ago. And we used the principles of physics. You can't defy elastic. You can't run away from elastic. They even make games now where you're tied against elastic and you run away and it pulls you back. We kind of incorporated that into carp fishing, because carp are very, very clever creatures, as in, not all of them. Some lakes are just super stupid, but a lot of the lakes now, they're getting so overfished, and you need to up your game. What we've got there is literally in there, we've got an elasticated lead, right? So I put that hook point in me. Look, I can't get rid of it. I cannot get rid of that. Wherever I go, it's done. And the carp, they don't think in the same process we do. They don't, so they're going to bolt off, and this will catch you so many carp. And then you combine that with the Withy Pool rig, and you touch a half circle. See what it's done? It just turns. You can't defy a half circle. It's a cobra ready to strike. As soon as you touch it, boom, it's done. Combine that with that, you've got probably, as far as I'm concerned, I've done carp rigs for what, 35 years now. You can't defy that, but that is caught me so many carp, and carp that haven't been caught for 18 years. Carp that haven't been caught, a total blind carp that haven't been caught for 8 years, and that impressed me the most, that carp that's blind for 8, and it's been blind for years, but it's an upper 50. And I caught it first time out on this rig. A carp that hadn't been caught 18 years, and it's been fished every day, that lake. They're doing you. So if you can up your game, why not? If you want to be the best, use the best, and that's what we're going to show you on this video. So let's, without further ado, we'll get into how to tie this and yeah, your carp album will change. So this is key part of the rig, the Gardner marker elastic. As you can see, that's what we're looking for, and that's what you're fighting against. They're fighting against the lead. It's important to put across that you do need a 4-ounce lead. I've seen people use this with a 2-ounce lead. You're not getting the effects of the elastic like that. You know, you need something to pin it down. So all we're going to do is we're going to snap off. As you can see how safe the rig is. That's how safe it is, because that will snap at any point. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this tail rubber off, and then we're going to poke the elastic through. And what I normally do is I do it with the GTHD line or the Tiger line. Pull that up, and all we're going to do is tab that little end bit, just so that doesn't pull through. If you pull that through, you've got to do it all again. And then we're going to tie that onto our heavy ring with a 3-turn gritter knot. And all I do is I put a bit of saliva on there, just to make sure the knot, see how small it's got now? And then we're going to pull that down right next to the knot of where your main line is. It's quite simple. It's not complicated. It's just a bit fiddly, but hey, if you're going to catch a fish, who cares about fiddly? People sit there for 24, 48 hours and don't catch anything. This will catch you a lot of carp. So now I've done that, I'm going to take my scissors and just tab off the tag end. Take that out, and now you can release the tail rubber. And this is the important part. Pull the two together. Pull the two together, and then I always put the elastic down the side of the lead, just so I can test it. And that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Look, have a look at that. That's done. Yeah? So that's quite self-explanatory. That should be easy to follow. And then the tail rubber will go back on to our now perfect tensioned elastic, and then we just take off the tag end of that, and that's why it was called the Hermit Lead, because it's all inside itself. And as simple as that, and now you've got an elasticated rig. It's very simple, but blow me is it effective. It really is. And yeah, ignore it at your peril. So guys, now you have the Hermit, and I've shown you how it works. One key point, right, and it's a really good key point. Don't have your lines tight to it like that, because if you do, the elastic's not going to stretch. So you have to let your line do the work. And the Gardner line, which is like the GTHD or the Tiger line, it does that. It sinks on the bottom. Have your bobbins set down low, because don't forget, once that snaps, you're into a running lead and you get a screaming run. So I tend to use, during most of the year, I'll use the GTHD, which is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's never let me down. I've never snapped off. I've never lost a fish. That line is the best line I've ever used, and I've worked for line companies, but this one is the one. But in the winter, I do use, if I'm using the Hermit and the Withy, which is my winter tactics, is the Tiger line. It's a little bit more expensive than the rest, but if you want the best, you've got to pay the rest. And it's the best. Look at that, right? That's fluorocarbon at its best. And there's nothing better than this one, which I use in the winter, but I also use that for the basic complicated rig. But we've already done that one. And but look at that, it just sinks. It's so you need that little bit of slack line just for that elastic to stretch. And the principle, if you had it tight, it wouldn't stretch. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, good luck, boys. Right, just I'm going to make a little executive decision. You know when things niggle you, in carp fishing, and I tend to act on them. And that right hand rod I got along that snag line, there was I see the underwater snags in there yesterday. I'm just not happy. So what I'm going to do, just going to get that rod in, and I'm going to whip it on the same area as the other one, and go around and put some more hemp out, and I'm going to concentrate that area with 2 rods on it. It's not something I normally do, but something's telling me to do it, so I'm going to do it. Lovely little spot in the end that was. If I see it fizzing over there, I'll put one back on it. I know it's 9.5 wraps, but I'm going to get one off of that spot over there, just on the sort of the pretense that I know that I can walk round there and accurately bait that bush. And I heard them there. I heard them there last night, so in numbers. So we might be upping our chances. Another 33.3%, which in carp fishing is quite a bloody high percentage. That is 2 what we call in the sexy zone. Woohoo! Right, it's a quick overview on how to make the Withy. Like I said, you can use any rig with the Hermit, but I choose to use the Withy with it for obvious reasons. So I'm using the Trickster 30-pound braided hook link, soft hook link, because I'm putting it in a PVA bag. Cut off about 10 inches to, I use a size 8 Talon tip. You can use the muggers, the Continental muggers. I prefer this one. You'll make it, because you put the tubing on, it becomes a really big hook anyway. So what you do, take 1.75 inches of tubing, 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches, and just slide it down. And then if I'm using wafters, which you can use a pop-up, a wafter or a bottom bait with a Withy, contrary to belief, but I quite often just use the wafters in the bags, put on a sinker, little tungsten sinker, and that is literally for, I use this for making when it goes into the bag, it literally, I'll make a little S shape with the hook link, and that helps it drop in the bag easy, and also keeps the hook link on the bottom. So then what we do, see how sharp they are. We put on a flexi hook swivel, and you put it on the ring end, not the actual swivel, so the ring goes on the hook. And then just to finish it off, this is how simple the Withy is. I'm going to stick on these little glasses because my eyesight's getting too old for this carp business. And then we just stick on one of the Gardner hook stops. Slide that round to position. It's just above where the barb is, and that's now ready to shrink. And that's as simple as the Withy gets. So the final part of, you've got the Hermit, the Withy, it's putting it in the bag. And me having, what do you call it, OCD, or I just can't, if I cast it out, I can't think, is it tangled, So I stick it into a bag. This is the way I do it, quite simple. I put the hook in first. I've seen quite a few sort of things where people put the lead in first. I could never understand why you would do that. I like to make that S shape in the hook link, as you can see there. So that's just sat as it should be. And we take half a handful. So you're filling about 1/3 of the bag up. And now this is where our little sinker, the Gardner sinkers, come into play. You see how it just wants to make a nice little S shape. Put your finger on the bag. And then we're filling it up almost 3/4. There, so now we've got that lovely S shape. Now I'll sit the lead right in the middle of the bag, and then just put pellet round it, work it back into the middle, and just pull it up just slightly. And you can see, you just see the top of the lead. So what I've got to do is pat this down on a dry surface, just so you're making a heavy sort of bomb. So I've patted that either side, and now, simple part, because we've got the stem on the Gardner Hermit lead, we twist that round and then lick it. And all I'm doing is just twisting that on It's so simple, but what you have got is an S shape in there. You've got the little withy in there, cobra, ready to strike, and then it pulls into the elastic, and your photo albums are growing. The last thing I do, just if I want to punt this, I can punt this about 140 yards if needed. Not that I do fish that far on most lakes. Just fold over the edges. Just use one, hold it there for about 4 or 5 seconds each side. Push that side in with your thumb. Pull that bit up. And fold that over. My mix is literally, it's a mixture. I've got mini mix pellets in there from Blake's. I've got pure krill powder from Blake's. I've got some turmeric in there, garlic powder, and the chili PVA friendly hemp. And then the last bit, just to vary it up, I've got some krill 6mm pellets, 4mm pellets, sorry. And that's a simple mix, but it's one that's done me well, that's 630s now out of Lindbrook through the winter, and it'll work during the summer, obviously, for obvious reasons. But one word of warning: the turmeric makes your fingers and your hands orange for a while. So if you've got to go to the shops, don't mix it up before then. But that's the mix, and it's done me a load of big fish. So yeah, I hope that's good for you. Now that is why we came to Lindbrook. Look at that for a supermodel. That is a carp and a half. Absolutely thrilled. This is why we're showing you the Hermit Lead and what it can produce, and that's definitely a 30, and that'll be my 6th 30 this year. So I'm out of Lindbrook, out of 4 trips. So yeah, happy days. That is just something else. Incredible creature. Yeah, well thrilled with that, and what a bloody good end that is to a fantastic trip. And we're just coming out of winter into spring, and she's looking her finest. Let's try and get rid of that. But yeah, it doesn't get any wetter than this. Oh, bitch. Oh, brilliant.